And arguably, you could have had Nick beating Derek in a lot of those shots.
And I completely disagree with Nick on this one. I think that Derek Lunsford was a clear and obvious favorite over Nick Walker. I don't think it was close. I don't think you could flip-flop the two. I don't see Nick Walker as having gotten second place. Okay, I'm here with Nikki, and we're going to talk about bodybuilding, in particular, Nick Walker. Why is he not the champion? Why is he not winning the Arnold? And so in today's video, we're responding to Nick Trilogy from Bodybuilding and BS. And he has strong opinions about Nick Walker. Loves Nick Walker. Says this guy, he should have won. And in comparison, I disagree. I'm in favor of Samson Doda. And so what I like about Nick is he's like me. He says his opinion and he's not scared to share with you. And so if you like bodybuilding, I strongly suggest you go and subscribe to his channel. He covers everything you want to know about bodybuilding, often 2 videos a day. And so on this particular topic, I'm going to disagree. And so we're going to see, what does he say about Nick Walker? What do I say? And so stay tuned and find out.
I get Samson has better shape than me. And that's fine. He's a lot taller, but my shape is there.
And so Nick, he's a realist. He says Samson Doda has a better shape than me. He's taller, has better shape, and so therefore he's at an advantage. Of course he is. Nick Walker's a 5'7" man like Coach Greg. He has an uphill battle to win the title. Samson Doda, given better genetics, a smaller waist, wider shoulders, and so of course he has an advantage.
But if they want a Fuller, I can bring Full. That's fine.
And so Nick says, hey, if they want Fuller, I can bring Fuller. What he did in comparison to Olympia was he came in more conditioned. He got leaner, more shredded. So some people are saying, oh, he was flat, didn't have that wow factor. People, come on. We all know in bodybuilding, the leaner, the better. There is no way you can show up fatter with more body fat, bigger, and place better. That is complete and utter BS. And so Nick Walker did exactly what he should have. He came in, brought a leaner, sharper package. Problem is, so did Samson Doda. Samson Doda got bigger, added muscle, and got leaner. And so we have an amazing shorter guy against an amazing taller guy. And so this is the result.
We did what we could, so we didn't have, that signature condition that we always had. And yeah, I was a lot fuller for the but we wanted to be dialed in.
Exactly. He wanted to be more dialed in. Yeah, he was full, but at the Arnolds, he brought fullness and conditioning. He was, in fact, better, not worse. And so just because he didn't win didn't mean he didn't get better. This is literally a competition against yourself. When you're a bodybuilder, you're competing against yourself. You bring the best possible package that you can and let the chips fall where they may be. He can't control how Samson Doda looks. He can't control any other factor other than how he himself looks on stage. And so he brought his A package, the best he could do, and got second. Nothing wrong with that.
I was 255 this morning.
What'd you weigh the day of the show?
248.
And so think of it. Nick Walker's 248 pounds, mind-blowing shredded, dehydrated, at about 5'7". Think of it. The 212 class, the limit is 212. He's literally 36 pounds above the limit. If he competed in classic physique, he'd have to compete at 192 pounds. He's 56 pounds above the classic physique weight limit. Oh, he's not big enough, not shredded enough? What? Are you kidding me?
I think Nick should stay around his stage weight as best as he can. Like 20 pounds max over his stage weight is all he needs to do.
When you're on stage, you're dehydrated, perhaps 4% body fat. And so to only gain 20 pounds in the off season, that is nothing. Yet you're watching this, you're probably 20% body fat, and you're thinking, oh, I need to go on a bulk to put on weight. Does Nick Walker have to? Nick Walker in his off-season perhaps 10% body fat. And we've seen most professional bodybuilders in their heaviest, fattest off-season, perhaps 10, 12% body fat. And you're thinking, no, I need to bulk up. I'm 20% body fat. You need to cut. You need to lower your body fat to 15% and main gain.
And listen, Samson looked incredible. Hats off to Samson, but he didn't take me out.
And so Nick's feeling was he had the show in the bag. He thought he was going to get first place, but it was really close. And if you watched my video, I said it could go either way. They all deserve to win depending on what the judges' criteria for first place really is. And on that night, the judges were going for more of an aesthetic, taller, more classic physique looking body. And why do I think that is? Well, I do think that they're being biased towards a physique that looks like Chris Bumstead. Guy's got over 15 million followers on Instagram. He's the most popular bodybuilder in the world. And so you don't think that's affecting them? They're thinking, wow, look at the popularity of Chris Bumstead. So perhaps we should take bodies that look more like Chris. And so if you compare Chris to Nick Walker or Samson Dota, who do you think looks more like Chris? And so there's your champion. The judges, they're normal human beings like you and me. I personally am a judge. And my preference of physique, more the aesthetics. I like Chris Bumstead, therefore, yes, Samson Dota, more my style that I would vote for. Doesn't mean Nick Walker doesn't deserve to win. Different judge, different person, they're going to have Nick in first place. Overall, I do believe there is in fact a changing of the guard. Nick himself is saying this. And so being a shorter guy, it's harder for him to place first.
Nick has fewer weaknesses than Samson. We're talking about muscularity, talking about body parts being developed, the separation of the muscle, the conditioning was far superior. I just don't think Samson did enough Friday and Saturday to beat Nick.
And so Nick, you can clearly see, Nick Walker deserved to win. And so if me and Nick were both judging, of course we could be judges, Nick would have Samson Dota in second, Nick in first, and I would have the exact opposite. And that's exactly what I love about the sport. Two people can have different opinions, both valid, and both be right. Just because I think Samson's better than Nick doesn't mean he is. And just because Nick thinks the opposite doesn't mean he's right either. We're both right. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it a competition. You never know who could possibly come out on top.
The clear winner for intra-workouts right now in the market is my intra-workout.
And just like how we have different opinions on who makes for the best bodybuilder, well, Nick believes that his intra-workout Nitro 3D is the best, and perhaps it is. My personal belief is the best supplement is in fact GO2 Max. The main ingredient, NMN, has been shown in double-blind placebo-controlled studies with humans, that's right, not lab rats, mice, humans. And it's not the placebo effect that has a significant improvement on your ability to burn fat and calories and cardiovascular ability. It's so effective, the FDA, they just banned it. Oh, it's banned in the United States. Starting March 13th, you can't buy it on Amazon. And so we have different opinions on what's the best supplement. Is mine the best? Is his the best? What's up for you to decide? It can be both. Who knows? Go buy his supplement, go buy mine. Buy the one that you think is the best. Perhaps you don't like intra-workouts, you don't like GO2 Max. Maybe you want Turk Builder, creatine. Buy the supplement that you think is the best based on your own research. And so we all have different favorites for bodybuilding. Some like Chris Bumstead, some like Samson Dota, some like Big Ramy. You're all right. And for me, being allowed to discuss this openly and not be ridiculed about it, that's what I love about bodybuilding.
In order to take out a champion, you really have to knock him out. And, I don't think there was any really knockout punches that were thrown.
And so my personal opinion, you don't need to knock out the champion. You don't need to completely annihilate them. On any given show, anyone can be the champion. It doesn't have to be a clear and concise knockout like, wow, you completely blew that guy out of the water. If you won by a little bit, you won. That's how it works in bodybuilding.
Nick took third last year, remember, behind Derek and Hadi. And arguably, you could have had Nick beating Derek in a lot of those shots.
And I completely disagree with Nick on this one. I think that Derek Lunsford was a clear and obvious favorite over Nick Walker. I don't think it was close. I don't think you could flip-flop the two. I don't see Nick Walker as having gotten second place. And I would say, in fact, Derek was closer to beating out Hadi than Nick was to beating out Derek. Now, I did have Hadi slightly edging out Derek, but to me, that was close. And so I don't think at next year's Mr. Olympia that we're going to see Nick Walker suddenly beating Hadi and Nick Walker. And seeing as the judges are tending to favor more the aesthetics, they're more likely looking for a guy like Andrew Jacked or Samson Dota. But don't forget a guy like Derek Lunsford, he's shorter but has an amazing shape. He has a small waist, barn door wide shoulders, ridiculously wide clavicles. And so if he builds up his quads, I think Derek Lunsford very easily could win next year's Mr. Olympia.
For me, I'm going to be honest, is to be even more peeled than when I was at the Arnold, but make sure we're full as a shipbreak house.
And so Nick says, I understand, Samson Dota has better shape than me, but I'm going to bring even more conditioning to the Olympia next year. And I'm going to get bigger. And so he's not done yet. He's going to put on more size, bring the absolute craziest shredded physique he can possibly bring, and hope it's enough to place ahead of all these other competitors. And so it is, of course, possible. Imagine he adds 10 pounds of muscle, comes in just as shredded or more. That could be very hard to overlook. In particular, he adds more size to the quads, bring out that X-frame. That could be very hard to beat at next year's Mr. Olympia.
I do feel that the judging criteria is turning a little bit more toward the the aesthetic feel.
And I'm on Nick Walker's side. I think he hit the mark. The judges are going for more of that aesthetic physique.
I got to disagree because I think the judges do a very good job of judging what's in front of them for the most part.
And so Nick Trilogy's saying, no, the judges, they separate that. They're going for whoever's the best on that day. Well, if they decided that the best is the guy who's aesthetic, and you're not as aesthetic, then you have an uphill battle. Doesn't mean you can't win. If a guy's very aesthetic but not lean enough and you're more muscular, shorter, but you bring in the conditioning and the size, of course you can win. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so these judges, they're human beings like you and I. And so next year, they're going to look and decide, who do I want to be the Mr. Olympia? And so it might be Nick, it might be Samson, might be Derek, Hadi, Big Ramy, who knows? Only time will tell.
And I do think it's a very hard job to judge physiques that are in front of you.
And so for me, I find it very easy to judge the physiques that are in front of me. Nick is saying it's so hard. It's not. You pick the body that you think is best. You know the standards. You know they're looking for conditioning, shape, size, proportions. And so you watch them hit all their poses and you pick the one you like more. It's like picking a meal out at a restaurant. You read what's on the menu and you pick your favorite. Bammo! And could you possibly have made a mistake? Well, maybe. But for you, that's the meal you wanted on that particular day. Other people, they like a different meal. And so that's like bodybuilding. Some judges like a certain physique, others like a different physique. Doesn't mean somebody's right or wrong. There's nothing wrong with being slightly biased to like a certain physique more than another. And so hopefully you enjoyed the discussion on what makes a champion bodybuilder. And as you can see, Nick has a different opinion in mine, but it doesn't make him wrong. And so if you are a fan of bodybuilding, head over to his channel, click the subscribe button. You're going to be educated on bodybuilding, learn so many different things. I'll try and cover some of his topics in the future. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm, like the video if you liked it. Like it now. Watch the bloops, and of course, code Greg, 10% off on the Harder Than Last Time supplements, the clothing line, the cookbooks, the training books, the coaching plans by me and my team, the Circle Diet book, got so much stuff, even phone consults. Don't forget, I got the Instagram, Greg Doucette IB Pro. Also, I got a free diet and training program, over 50 pages. Head over to the website, you get it absolutely free. And until next time, I am out.